In the previous episode, which was 866, hope you've listened to that prior, I mentioned the case against ASAP Rocky concerning the shooting that occurred between himself and one of the OG members of ASAP Mob, ASAP Relli. ASAP Relli is alleging ASAP Rocky shot him during an altercation. The shooting itself is a little bit dubious because it looks like it was grazed on his knuckles, but I've now learned, due to my following of the Megan Thee Stallion v Tory Lanez case, that in America, if a bit of shrapnel hits you or a bullet hits you, that still counts as getting shot. In my head, I always assumed being shot by a gun meant the bullet passed through flesh, but I guess in this case, any shrapnel relating from the gun shooting hits you, then you got shot. So he got shot. The bullet grazed his knuckles. Thankfully, it didn't crack and blow off his whole hand. And now he's taken ASAP Rocky, his close friend. And I've also learned during the trial that ASAP Relli and ASAP Rocky knew each other since they were 15. And they're now both, 36 or something? So it's 20 plus years of friendship. And they got into one scuffle. For some reason, Rocky thought he needed to bring a gun. He allegedly fired the gun, hit Relli in the fingers, or grazed his fingers, and now Relli is basically taken him to court, and he's now facing 24 years in prison, especially after Rocky rejected a plea deal, which would have had him sit down for a couple of months. I suggested in the last podcast that I couldn't understand why Rocky would turn down a plea deal. The plea deal sounded good, although it would maybe have him having to confess or take responsibility for one of the more serious offenses that he's been charged with. It would still mean he would be out to see his kids, he'll be out to hang out with Rihanna, he'll be out to continue with his career in about 6 months, if not less than that. I think I heard Whack 100, who's like, a road guy who knows more about prison stuff than I do. He even mentioned that he thinks if Rocky did take the plea deal, he wouldn't spend more than 2 months in prison due to good behavior and whatnot. And obviously having good lawyers. But he rejected the plea deal. And I remember saying at the end of the podcast, I remember actually saying that maybe Rocky knows something that we don't. Maybe Rocky knows something that we don't. Well, now we know Rocky definitely does know something that we don't, because ASAP Relli took the stand today, and the prosecution, which is obviously ASAP Rocky's team, I think that's the prosecution, right? The prosecution of ASAP Rocky's team had a chance to grill Relli on the stage. And let me just tell you, the grilling wasn't even that intense. I don't think so. Just prodding and probing questions and going over ASAP Relli's testimony, and he's already crumbling. ASAP Relli is already crumbling on the stand with just a couple of gentle prods and pokes from Rocky's lawyer, and ASAP Relli is already crumbling, and it's now looking like the tide in this whole trial has been shifted in the favor of Rocky, and I'm thinking most likely he might get off on this. ASAP Rocky might get off on this case that looked like it was stonewalled, because as Tony Ayo mentioned, other people have mentioned, it's very rare do you see a case where somebody that survives a shooting says somebody shot them and the perpetrator doesn't go to prison. It doesn't really happen, because you said you shot them, you survived. Usually, more often than not, that person goes to jail. Well, in this particular case, I think Relli might have absolutely effed his chances of being successful in this trial, because his whole story, his whole point is crumbling under just the slightest of pressure from ASAP Rocky's lawyer. I'm going to play a clip from the actual trial that happened. It's, I guess, the third day. I don't know what day it is, but essentially Rocky's lawyer is grilling ASAP Relli on the stand, and ASAP Relli is crumbling. He's stuttering, he's needing clarification, and he's looking really, most importantly, dumb and very, he's looking like he bear a grudge for a long time, and he took advantage of the situation to try and get money out of Rocky. So let me play the clip for you, because it's not looking good for Relli. It really isn't looking good for Relli out here. Here's a clip right now.
That truthful testimony.
Truthful, can you explain the question again? I don't know what I'm saying. Yes or no to. I got
Did you just see yourself?
No, but you're not explaining the question.
Here's my question.
I see myself, but you're not explaining. So what I'm supposed to say is yes or no to.
So as you can hear, Relli's being very argumentative, very obtuse, very defensive, and curt with the lawyer. And the lawyer's not saying anything. He's just telling him to repeat what he said in the test, to basically re-emphasize what he already said in a prior testimony, preliminary one that they had prior, iron out some details, obviously in the hopes of catching him out, but it's not even that deep. And Relli's getting very defensive and having this weird tit for tat sort of like quarrel with ASAP Rocky's lawyer on the stand. It's flipping crazy to watch this in real time.
Did you see yourself? Did you see yourself?
I see myself.
Did you hear yourself?
I heard myself.
Was that truthful?
What's truthful?
What you just said.
That I love him or like we was cool? I don't know what you mean. I said a lot of things.
The part that you said, if I said, fuck you, it was sort of wishy-washy with love, you know? That part.
Okay,
that
that's true. True.
True?
Yeah.
In fact, on September 18th, 2021, at 8:19 a.m., you text Rocky, fuck everything about you, fake ass gay nigga. Right?
Of course not.
Of course not? Okay. I'm going to show you a text message now.
Jesus Christ.
Take a look for a second.
Of course not. There's a text
Yes.
message.
And Relli
Hold on. This is defense C. Susan Charlie.
September 18th, 2021, 8:19 a.m. No matter how much the nigga tried, you not charge that nigga. Change it. Fuck everything about you, you fake ass nigga. I dead hate you. Sucker ass guy nigga, then you change guy to gay. Remember sending that message?
Jesus
This
Christ.
is in 21.
I understand. Everything we're talking about here today is in 21. Every text message he showed you yesterday was in 21.
Yeah, but you asking me now, do I remember? You're not showing me nothing else that came into the text message, so I probably did write that. Is that from me?
That's for me.
Okay, that's cool.
That's cool. Okay. So
Oh, Relli's looking absolutely crazy. And if you're wondering what's going on, just listening to this, Relli basically disputed that he said what the lawyer said. The lawyer basically said that he called, Rocky some names over the phone. Essentially, what Rocky's lawyer is trying to prove was that Relli was provoking, probing, or antagonizing Rocky to the point that would drive him to shoot him or get in a confrontation. That it wasn't just some ambush. That they were clearly on some bad terms, and it was going to, resolve or result in some sort of physical altercation. And Relli, for his defense, is trying to make it seem like he was a poor innocent lamb that just got ambushed by his friends. Obviously, in these type of cases, the truth is somewhere in the middle. But the way Relli is reacting and responding to this lawyer makes me think that he was lying, because he's very defensive. And if one of the easy tells of somebody when they're lying, especially, or one of the easy tells is when when you're fighting somebody, and this is a bad example, but if you're fighting somebody and they're getting really shouty, they're kind of getting very vocal, they're waving their arms in the air, usually it's a tell that they're scared to fight. They maybe don't know how to fight, or they're scared to fight. Usually somebody that knows how to fight is usually very calm, cool, and collected, and usually somebody that is telling the truth doesn't get easily rattled. When someone's telling the truth, they only get rattled. If someone's telling the truth, they only get really rattled when you accuse them of lying. That's when they might get really rattled and get really emotional about being branded a liar, and they're going to try their best to make sure you believe that they're not a liar by emphasizing the facts and repeating the facts and not deviating from the facts. Whereas Relli's he's nitpicking at what the lawyer is saying. And I watched a part of this. I was listening to it in the background while I was kind of working out and shit. And I heard Relli basically saying every time that Rocky's lawyer would ask him a question pertaining to this case, ASAP Relli would ask, "Hey, I don't understand. Could you repeat that again? I don't understand. Could you repeat that again? I'm not sure. I don't recall. I'm not sure. I don't recall. I'm not sure. I don't recall." To the point where I was thinking, you know what? Forget calling him ASAP Telly, which is what the social media's called him now, right? He's gotten his new nickname now on Twitter is ASAP Telly. Don't call him ASAP Telly. You should call him ASAP I don't recall, because that's all he keeps saying. I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't recall. But then in certain parts that are advantageous to him, suddenly he remembers what happens. So, and even the lawyer getting really angry, saying, "Oh, this is pertaining to 21. How would I remember?" And he's like, this whole case is pertaining to an incident that happened in 2021. Like, if you don't remember this, then why are we even here? Do you know what I mean? So Relli is coming across really, really weird. And it's making me think maybe Rocky did know something that we didn't. Maybe what Rocky knew was that his boy is a fucking idiot. Not to be offensive or anything, but even Relli comes across a bit slow. Not too sure if it's because of nerves, but I swear to God, he comes across a bit slow on the stand. He comes across a bit slow, or at least he might be a little bit like, low IQ. He definitely does come across that way, because it's like there's certain parts where it seems like he can't even read. Like he's like really stalling to read the texts. He has to ask for clarification on the question 2 or 3 times. He doesn't seem to comprehend the really simple questions pertaining to his case. It's not like they're asking him like really crazy questions in legalese. They're asking him facts or events that may have happened in this case to him to clarify certain things or to go over what he said prior, and he's really struggling to do it. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know how this case even got to trial. I don't know how Relli got on the stand without being prepped. I don't know which kind of lawyers he has, but it's looking kind of wild. And it's also telling you, like, this is what money buys. Because on the surface, it seemed like Rocky was banged to rights. He was going to be found guilty and everything was going to go not his way. But now we see what the benefits of money does. The benefits of money afford you a lawyer like the one he has now, who, even though this case looks like it's not like a winnable case for Rocky, Rocky's lawyer was able to kind of figure out a way to kind of spin it and kind of, you know, make it look a certain way. And obviously, as soon as Relli got on the stand, he probably thought, you know what, this is easy work. And he has been going at him. It's been a constant fight between Relli and Rocky's lawyer. And so far, I think Rocky's lawyer is winning. I don't think the jury are going to respond too well to Relli. But maybe they'll still think, you know, the main point of the case is that, do they think Rocky shot him, or yes or no? But the way Relli is on the stand, I don't think he's really helping his case at all. He really is not helping his case. So maybe, again, this is another example I said in the beginning of me not knowing what I'm talking about, because I think Rocky knows his friends way better than what we do. And he knew this guy was like this. I think he had a feeling that this guy is a little bit, you know, a little bit all over the place. He had a feeling that this guy probably doesn't have the composure necessary to be on the stand, isn't maybe the smartest guy, isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. And he risked going to trial because he knew there was a chance he could get off, because this guy's not coming across well at all, man. But it's still, point remains, man. Point remains for me. It's still very sad to see two former friends, because that's what you find out when you listen to this trial. A$AP Relli and A$AP Rocky knew each other since high school. They've been friends since they were like 16, 17, bro. They started A$AP Mob together. A$AP Yams, Bari, Ills, original crew. And it came to this, you know? It's not necessary. It didn't need to go this far. It's really sad to see, like, and I was thinking earlier today, like, because I remember I spoke about this on a random show, about how friendship breakups are probably worse emotionally than relationship breakups. And I think this is a good example, because I don't think an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend will do this to you, or an ex-wife or husband. I don't think so. I think only an ex-friend could legitimately potentially kill you, or could potentially take you to court in the hopes of getting you locked up and taken away from your kids and shit. Because that's the main thing, right? If Rocky goes, you know, he's not gonna be fucked up financially. He's married to Rihanna. He's got his own money. He's not gonna suffer that way. But he's gonna be away from his kids for a very long time. And you, as a friend, to do that to your former friend is crazy. But I think only a friend could do that. Only a friend that loved you could also hate you that much to want you to want to see you rot in jail or rot in prison for something that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, you know? Because we saw the injuries that Relli had, and yes, maybe there was some emotional injuries there that we don't know about, PTSD, but from what we saw in the pictures, it didn't look like he was injured that badly. They could have easily sorted it out. Even before the shooting, they could have sorted out some sort of fair squabble that would have meant whoever kind of, you know, whatever happened at the end, you shake hands and go your separate ways. You don't have to be friends forever. But for it to get to a gun situation is crazy. But I guess in this situation, you can't have to blame Rocky, really. You have to blame Rocky for taking the gun with him in the first place. Whether it's a prop gun or a real gun, taking a gun to go meet up a friend that you don't have, that you're not really seeing eye to eye with, is very extreme. It's very, very, very extreme. And one thing I've learned about, you know, following American culture, especially with this podcast I have in streams and stuff, is that a lot of people have said in the stream chat that one of the first rules about having a gun is that you should never pull a gun out unless you intend to use it.